What's going on? Happy Flex Friday. I'm so excited for today because today is going to be so powerful. And I can tell you that what we're going to share with you today has been extremely transformative for myself. So the sole intention of today's show is to share the love and share the knowledge, because Lord knows knowledge is power. So let me introduce you real quick to a very dear person whom I personally look up to so much. Her name is Sharon Lechter. She is an internationally recognized financial literacy expert, keynote speaker, and business mentor. She's a 5-time New York Times bestselling author, successful entrepreneur, philanthropist, and enjoyed a 35-year career as a licensed CPA. She has advised 2 U.S. presidents on the topic of financial literacy. Sharon co-authored international bestseller Rich Dad Poor Dad and 14 other books in the Rich Dad series. In 2008, when the economy crashed, she was asked by the Napoleon Hill Foundation to help re-energize the teachings of Napoleon Hill. Her best-selling books with the foundation include 3 Feet from Gold, Outwitting the Devil, which is a book that we shared with you plenty of times, Think and Grow Rich for Women, and Success and Something Greater. She's also featured in the movie Think and Grow Rich, The Legacy, and the national television series World's Greatest Motivators. Woo! Let me take a deep breath because she's just full of accolades. In 2022, Sharon's title, Exit Rich, was released to support entrepreneurs in building value and scalability in their business so they can be in a position of their greatest potential. And her newest title, How Money Works for Women, was released in July, last month, July, with WealthWave Media, a leading publisher in financial education materials to support women in taking control of their financial well-being. So ES Army, if you're ready to take control, not just of your physical well-being, also of your financial well-being, because let's be honest, money touches everything. Let me see you go ahead and drop an F in the chat as we welcome our very own Sharon Lechter. Woo! Hey!
Hello, my dear. I'm so excited to be with you. And hello, ES Army. So excited to be here with all of you. So congratulate yourself for taking the time to be here. I love it.
Oh, so good. Sharon, by the way, the community is so familiar with the book Outwitting the Devil.
Hey.
And the beautiful message behind it. And today we're going to talk about how money works for women. So team, I know you guys are ready. Now, Sharon, before we talk about what was your purpose and intention for writing this book, I would love to know from your experience, like, how are you finding financial literacy or illiteracy to show up in the world, especially for women nowadays?
Well, that's a great question, Suri, because it's really important for women to understand that historically, women tended to abdicate the responsible for money. They had, other people handling it for them, or they had a spouse who handled it. And what happens is you end up not understanding the flow of money. And we grow up in households where we hear things like pinch your penny, save for a rainy day, we can't afford it. So we grow up hearing things like money negative, money negative, money negative. And so we end up developing this mindset of scarcity. We're afraid we're never going to have enough. And then when we have a little bit of success, we're afraid we're going to lose it. And that's because we're not taught about money in school. We typically learn about it at home. And so you hear the phrase, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. That's because we're not giving children the opportunity to learn about money in school, which I'm trying to change. But it's so important because women tend to not take care of everybody else first. Women over the age of 50 have much more college debt than men, because instead of paying it off, they've been using it for their kids, for their parents. And they take care of themselves last. And that's what we need to change. That's what I know you and Aaron are doing, in getting people to take care of themselves. If we can be better women we can be better mothers, sisters, wives, right? So it's really important for women to put a stake in the ground, because right now, over 42% of households in America where there's two earners, the woman is the primary breadwinner. And so there's been a huge shift in the social dynamics. And what happens way too often are women end up finding themselves in a divorce situation, or they lose their spouse if they're married, and they have no credit because everything was in the guy's name. And so when you can start educating yourself about money, financial literacy is the gift of a lifetime. Once you understand how to make money, the sky is not even the limit. You have the opportunity to create what you want. And the reason I wrote this book is because I love what we did with it. I'm so excited about it because we looked at women from every decade of life, from 19 to 86.
Yeah.
So you will find something in there that applies to you and the different financial situations that you face. One has a special needs child. One woman survived abuse and has two children trying to recreate herself. Another one lost a spouse. Another one had a divorce. Someone else had a sickness. We have someone else who's planning for college, planning for a wedding, starting a new business. And so we look at all the financial situations that they face, how to apply for Social Security. All those things are so important for us to understand. And we wanted to make it in a non-threatening, simple way. And so it's really almost like, as you've lifted, it's like a graphic novel. It's all 4-color. We have avatars for each decade. So it's a fun read, but it's so informative.
So informative. And I want to share with the group, like in one paragraph that you wrote on page 37, why I believe, team, that each and every one of you should make I think it's an $18 investment in yourself, because this book, number one, is so transformative. Number two, what I love about it, unlike a lot of other books, is that first of all, you have the gift of breaking things down into like really simple language, right? And who in here, like the thought of financial education just gives you a headache? Go ahead and drop a me. I can totally relate to that because, Sharon, exactly like what you said, like we were not taught these things in school. And, like, yes, you're right. Like, most of us grow in homes where it's like, oh, we can't afford it. Oh, like money doesn't grow on trees. And we don't realize how scarcity mindset like hits us on a subconscious level, and it touches every part of our lives. So I see you guys. So Sharon said, we aren't taught about money in school, and sadly, many women don't feel they're smart enough to understand basic financial principles. You don't have to be a financial professional to learn how to become financially independent, build your savings, learn about basic investment strategies, and how to make your money grow. Start by reading financial books and articles. You can also attend seminars online or social media group meetings or a topic of money. Even if you're starting from scratch or starting over, just start by educating yourself. I'm going to go ahead and I know we're going to talk more about the book and your teachings. I'm just going to go ahead and I want to drop the link for the book in the chat already, because
they can get the book from my website if they want, Sharon Lechter, or they can get it it is available on Amazon as well.
Yep. You're very wonderful. Angela has shared with us the link. So team, your link is below. I believe I'm in a stand that every woman needs to read this, because Sharon's on a mission to educate women how to take power of their lives. And Sharon, something that I can share with you as well is that, of course, Erin and I are in the body transformation and the weight loss and fitness space. And I'll tell you that it breaks my heart how so many times women feel as if they have to hold back on their health and well-being because of their financial situation. So for anyone who is wondering, well, like how does this relate to what we do? Money touches every part of our life, whether you realize it on a conscious level or a subconscious level. So shame on us when we have a connection that can help you to get a better grip and gain power. You're here all about power. If you're here for power, then go ahead and drop a P. It's all about self-empowerment. And because money touches every part of our lives, when we feel powerless with that, guarantee you that it touches every part of your life. Why? How do I know that? Because I am you. You know what I mean? So how, I would love to know, how do you envision this book empowering women to build financial independence and secure their financial future?
Well, my goal, and I think it's working, is to have written a book that isn't threatening and isn't scary. And in doing it, when you read the book that is kind of fun and entertaining, you actually are learning stuff and you can start letting that fear dissipate. And you see that you're not alone, that the issues that you're facing, so many other people are, but so many times we're afraid to talk about it. We think we're the only ones on earth that have these problems because, of course, everybody else's life is perfect on Facebook and Instagram. So, we realize we isolate and we tend to hide away in that negativity. And as you said, you guys are familiar with Outwitting the Devil. My goal with that book was to help people understand how to get rid of that fear one step at a time. But what happens is that, money, when it comes to money, you're either in control of your money or it's in control of you. In fact, that's the subtitle of How Money Works for Women, is take control or lose it. And, during the pandemic years, credit card debt actually went down in America. But since the pandemic has been officially over, we are now over $1 trillion in America in credit card debt, highest ever in history. And that is a problem waiting to explode. So we really need to be able to educate ourselves so we can take control of our money and build the future that we deserve, build the success that we deserve. But don't wait for someone else to do it for you. People say, I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I go, stop it. That means you're giving up your power. You're waiting for somebody else to bring you the answer. You have everything you need. You are perfect just the way you are. You have the ability to create the life for yourself that is your destiny. But take control. Be your own beacon of light. As you stand in your own power, you're going to attract other people to you. Just like Aaron and Sarit have. They put a stake in the ground and said, we want to help people transform their lives physically, mentally, spiritually. And by doing that, they're attracting other people to them who want that same transformation.
So powerful. Thank you for sharing that. So, okay, on behalf of myself and the community, you just talked about, like some of the financial consequences post-pandemic. And I am curious to know myself, where do you foresee us heading as a country and a society with all of this credit card debt, should we not take control of our money?
Well, the credit card debt is totally out of control, as is our government debt. It's just, my gosh, it's larger than I could ever imagine it getting. And so the issue is, you and I can't control the worldwide economy. We can't control our nation's economy. And most of us cannot control our state economy. But we can control our wallets. We can control our personal economy. And so by educating yourself and understanding the need to get rid of bad debt. There is good debt. Good debt helps you build your business, helps you, pay for a rental property where your tenant's paying the debt. So understand the difference between good debt and bad debt and work on getting rid of the bad debt, because that's going to give you the freedom to be able to build your future. Because one of the things we're not taught in school is the power of buying, building, creating assets. Happens to be my favorite word on earth, assets. Just get used to saying the word asset. And so that's something that financial freedom comes from when the income from your assets exceeds your monthly expenses. And it does not have to be millions of dollars. But so many of us are trudging on the treadmill, exchanging time for money. I want you to invest your time in buying, building, creating assets, investing in real estate, investing in um, property, investing in a business, investing in something that's going to give you dividends. And as those dividends start coming in, you start building your wealth. And those assets become your employees. They're working for you 24/7. And the greatest gift when you start building up assets is you get your time back, because our greatest resource is our time. And you can make money, lose it, and make it back. But when time is gone, it's gone. And that's ever more present for me as I look in January. I'm going to be turning 70, but every day is precious. And so allow yourself to pay attention to the environment you're in. Who are you listening to? You're in the right group right now. So you've got that covered. Hanging out with Aaron Sarit is a really wise move. So in the right environment. And then how are you investing your time? Very important elements. Those are both we discuss in Outwitting the Devil as well.
So good. And I know that there is a part of the book. Let me just pull it up. It's on page 49 when you talk about the 7 money milestones. Now, of course, I can imagine that you can teach a 2-week course on that. And for anybody who wants to learn more, please just go ahead and get the book. I'm curious to know, what are some of the ways in which women can start taking control of their money? Because I can imagine that depending on where you're at, just the thought of it, like you could be seeing this mountain in front of you. You're like, wow, Sharon's talking about assets. Maybe you've got student loans. Maybe you got debt. Maybe you're taking care of your family. As a matter of fact, team, if you're willing to get vulnerable, I'd love to know, like, what are you currently walking into as far as your finances go while Sharon is here, so that we can ask particular questions that are related to you. Now, Sharon, if we can just touch on, what are some different ways in which we can start taking control of the money?
I love that question, Sarit, because you've actually started employing it by having this interview with your community. We wrote this book so that groups of women could actually get together and use this as a book study, as a mastermind, to go through and educate themselves together. We women like to get together, so here's a tool that can help you learn together. I mean, investing clubs made of women actually outperform those of men, and it's fun. And so don't stay alone in the negativity of feeling stressed out about money. Over 70% of Americans are stressed in money right now. And what's even worse is, and I'm going to hit your generation, millennials and Gen Xers, there's 82% of them are stressed about money. Never in history have the younger generations been so stressed. And that concerns me greatly. We need to get the education. We need to take that first step. And what happens is we get overwhelmed. We say, oh my gosh, where do I start? Well, you start one step at a time, right? You start like paying attention to your smallest credit card. Pay it off. And that's going to give you the energy and the confidence to go to the next one. It doesn't have to be the highest interest, the smallest balance, because then you have a win. We talk about a little win. That little win gives you the gumption and the motivation to take the next step, one step at a time. Check your credit cards for monthly recurring billing amounts that maybe you don't need anymore, right? Start paying attention to the ins and outs of your cash.
So good. I'm writing notes for the team. So something interesting is happening right now, and I'm sure it's no accident. So you just shared that 82% of millennials are stressed about money. Crazy. Also, highest it's ever been, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, something else that's crazy that's going on, like obesity is at an all-time highest. We're currently headed towards 49% by the end of this decade. And also, depression and suicide rate is at an all-time high.
Yeah, 77% of millennials and Xers experience mental health issues. And they're actually closely aligned with both obesity, mental health, and financial stress. They kind of go together. Unfortunately, when you're financially stressed, you tend to comfort eat. And so you put on weight, and then you get mad and feel bad about yourself, and you see all the perfect size twos on the internet. And so it hits your mental health. So, if you can attack them together, you probably will get the best results.
So good. Team, I'd be curious to know who, like, if before you came to the community, let's say like you were at like your all-time heaviest or out of shape, like now that you're looking back, like how much of it was related to your financial situation at the time? And if it was, can you just go ahead and drop an R? Because I believe that they're all intertwined. So powerful. So something that we teach is the power of habits. And Napoleon Hill talks all about habits, because by the end of the day, whether we do it on a conscious level or a subconscious level, we operate on an autopilot, which is our habits. So our habits make us and shape us for better and for worse. And I would love to know, I know you just shared a few tactics. If there are some financial habits, this is especially for the mothers in the house, who can start instilling, not just in themselves, also in their kids' lives, some positive financial habits, what would you say are like the top 3 to 5 habits?
Well, let me cover a few of them that are very important. So we talk about these negative comments about money. And so many of you would, if you're honest, would say you have said to yourself, I can't afford it. Or you've said to your children, we can't afford it. Well, that's a negative statement, and it closes down the brain. You want to just turn off the lights and get under the covers. And so you have the ability to control your thoughts, your words, your actions. So when you have the thought that I can't afford it, we can't afford it, change your mind and say, how can I afford it? All right. That's a question. It's an entrepreneurial trigger. Your subconscious goes to work. Your children can get very creative about how they want to, what they want to do to earn the money to get something. But the benefit is allow them to earn it, allow them to buy what they want, and then celebrate with them. Because the greatest benefit is the self-confidence you see in them as they make a goal, achieve it, and celebrate. And so, again, your thoughts. What are your thoughts about money? And then for your own self, think about, how can I afford something? Shift things into questions, because that triggers your subconscious to start working for it. And then again, start looking at every dollar. It's not what you do to make your paycheck. It's not what you do for your paycheck that matters. It's what you do with your paycheck that determines your financial security. So analyze everything you spend your money on. Where is it going? Analyze it and see what you can do. Go and get a new quote for car insurance. It's amazing. You'll find that your car insurance, if you shop it out, you might be able to save a significant amount of money. Think about those kinds of things as to what am I spending the most money on, and how can I tweak it? How can I make it fun and also save money? And it's so important to pay attention to these things, because you're the only one that can. You can't wait for someone else to say, oh, I'm going to help make you rich. No, you need to make that determination, and you need to start taking those actions. And again, don't do it alone. Get together with some girlfriends and you make a commitment, just like people get together to exercise. Get together and talk about money and things that you can do. I have in the book, I have a reference to something that I talk about, the 2-minute rule. And I was kind of telling a story on myself. About 15 years ago, my daughter came and helped me clean out my closet, and we probably gave away a bunch of clothes. I mean, a lot of them still had tags on them, because, I'm not really I don't love shopping. So when I go, I'm going for one particular thing, and I may see 2 or 3 other things. I throw them in the cart, and it's like, I don't need those things. And so I when that happened, it was a little embarrassing, since I teach financial literacy, and my daughter gave me a hard time. I said, okay. So I started this 2-minute rule. So when I'm shopping, I still get the enticement of other things. And I go, I'm just going to walk away for 2 minutes, because when we have high emotion, we have low intelligence. So you see something, oh, I like that. You take it without thinking about whether you really should spend the money on it, or whether you have something at home to truly match it. That's usually my problem. But so you walk away for 2 minutes, and then if you truly still want it after that time, when the emotions come down a little bit, I buy it. but more than likely I don't. And then the method was proven about 10 years after that when I was doing my closet again. I only had a couple things that had tags on them. So challenge yourself to, it comes back to the habits you talked about. So, you have, if you know you have a certain bad habit, illuminate it and make a big deal about it until you can start changing it. And, particularly when you talk about physical being and exercise, it's real obvious when you can make positive changes in your habits. Same thing can happen in your money life.
Yeah. The power of discipline. And, something that's interesting is while we do hear from a lot of women, which, just breaks my heart that I can't afford it. And, like Sharon said, team, can you just and drop I commit if you commit to just eliminating from your vocabulary the word I can't, like whether it's I can't lift this weight, I can't afford it. It just, as soon as you do this, you block yourself. So I love that you say that. So now something that's interesting that happens when women start, it's not just women, it's people in general, when we start to build discipline, is that other habits start to fall into place. And so many times we've seen in this community, and maybe some of you guys who are here with us live have seen it within your own life, that once you started to become more disciplined, while you made the initial investment that, yes, costed you money, you ended up actually improving your financial situation because you started to practice discipline. So if this is you, go ahead and drop me in the chat so Sharon can see you. Sharon, I want to ask you a couple of questions, and this is simply based on call it the ignorance of financial literacy that I got from my own parents, exactly like you said. So like when I talk to my parents, I talk to them like every single day. Just to also give you a little bit of context, my grandparents are Holocaust survivors. My mom escaped Syria by leg to come to Israel. So like they have very much the mindset of just like scrape everything.
Survival.
Yes. So I want to talk about savings real quick. Can someone actually save their way to financial freedom?
It's very almost impossible when you look at the fact that savings rates are below inflation. So when you are saving at 1-2% annual rate, even 3%, and inflation is sitting at 5, 6, 7, you're actually taking a step back by saving. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't establish a habit of putting money away in a savings account, and then as you accumulate it, you invest it. Obviously, you need an emergency fund, and that's a savings fund of 3 to 6 months of living expenses. So yes, that should be in a savings account. But you cannot save your way to financial independence unless you have tremendous windfalls of money. But at the end of the day, I call it arbitrage. You look at what you're making on your money that you have in the bank, compare it to inflation. And when it's lower than inflation, you're taking a step back.
Team, isn't that crazy? So let me ask you this. Like, I know you just said 3 to 6 months. I don't know if that is like a target that you would recommend for your own, mentees and clients. What would you say is the savings target that one should strive towards before start, putting it in perhaps other assets that are higher than the inflation rate?
Well, a lot of times people do the 70-10-10-10 rule, 70% for living, 10% that you put into savings, 10 for investing, and 10 for charity. And so the 10 that is for savings, you want to, until you get to that 3 to 6 month. And it's 3 months when the economy is going well, 6 months when we're living in the world we do right now, to give yourself a cushion should there be massive uptakes in financial turmoil. But understanding that you're creating a system that creates the habit, that creates the discipline that you're talking about. Now, a lot of people will go down to 50%, try to live on 50% and invest the balance. And in doing that, you speed your way to financial independence. Like I said, every dollar you receive, you have a choice. Do you spend it, which says goodbye to it, or do you invest it? And so I talk to people all the time. If you want that Louis Vuitton purse, don't buy it. Invest in an asset. And when that asset starts generating income, use that cash flow, that income stream to buy the fun things.
Can we actually break things down for a second just to make sure? I really want to make sure that everybody here follows. Can you share with us the difference between investing and spending?
Oh, absolutely. Spending is saying goodbye to your money. The money, you're spending it on your electricity in your house. You're spending it on having a dinner out. You're spending it on taking a trip. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. The problem is you're making a choice to say goodbye to that money. Investing is you're saying, I'm going to keep you and I'm going to have you work for me. I'm going to put this into even if it's in a money market or savings account, you're going to put it into a real estate investment trust. You're going to put it in the stock market. It's still your money and it becomes your employee working for you. And it's going to give you a return on your investment, right? You want it to be higher than inflation so that you're in a positive momentum. But that's the money. When you invest, you're keeping that money and employing it like an employee to work for you.
Yeah. Can you share? So, is investing your money only in money building assets considered to be investments, or are there other ways in which you would consider an investment that, might not particularly be investing, in the stock market or in real estate, or now
Sure.
there's like crypto and whatever else is going on?
Well, one of the greatest investments is investing in yourself, investing in your education, investing in your health. And just as we said a few minutes ago, when you have your mental health, your physical health, your financial health, and when one is in the tank, it usually impacts the other two. And so investing in yourself to be the best you can be at any point in time is the greatest investment you can make. But so that is an investment in yourself. That's a spiritual investment. It's an investment in your financial health by looking at ways that you can create by able to create assets. You can create an asset from your mind. It's called intellectual property. So creating the programs, what you and Aaron have created that are online programs, those are assets that you put the time, energy, and effort and the money to create. And now they're available to other people that can access it 24/7. And when they do, and there's financial reward to you, that's an asset that's generating cash flow. And so the more you can create in your life, the 28 books that I've written are assets. They're out there. People can access them. They can learn from them. And it gives an opportunity for me to write more books so that my time and energy is created in additional curriculum. And so think about what you can do. The greatest businesses solve a problem or serve a need. We have a few problems and a few needs in the world. And so creating a business that has products in it gives you, that is an asset. A business is an asset. Real estate's an asset. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, collectibles are things that you want, that you assume will increase in value over time. They may not give you cash flow. You may have holding on to gold and silver in the physical form doesn't give you cash flow, but it gives you the ability for appreciation. And so those are your own personal home does not give you cash flow. And so you want to make sure you pay attention to how stretched you are on your financial situation in buying a home, because that mortgage is money out of your pocket. Now, the bank will tell you your home is an asset. From an investment perspective, your home is not an asset because it costs you money every month. And so when you have a rental home that you're renting to someone, you own the home. the tenant is paying you, let's say $2,000 a month in rent, your expenses, the mortgage and other expenses are $1,000, you're actually pocketing $1,000 positive income every month. How many of those can you have? As many as possible, right? And so focusing on what you can do to generate income through assets is the fastest way to create financial independence.
So good. So this is an investment, because this is a tool that's going to help you to get ahead. I can imagine that it's really easy to fall into the quote unquote trap. And that's where discipline comes in, where, well, if it helps me to raise myself up, is it an investment or is it an expense? I can see how we can easily try to justify certain things. So I know you talked about the 2 minutes rule of, like, hey, take 2 minutes, breathe to really discover, is it emotional or is it logical? Would you say, like, would you have any tips around the justification or negotiation process around, oh, it's going to help me to raise me up, it's going to make me feel good, as far as is if something is an expenditure or actually an investment?
Well, one of the biggest, I love the fact that you just asked me that question, because one of the things that's become a hot topic lately, and in fact, I'm writing an article on it right now, is the get rich quick schemes, and people who sound good, look good, and they've got a slick tongue on the internet, and they convince you to spend money on something when you haven't really done your due diligence to see if they're the real deal. So for instance, you and Aaron are the real deal. You've shown your experience, you've shown your success, your people show the success. But there are other people out there, particularly in health and wellness, that they have the new overnight diet pill, they have this, and millions of dollars flow into them. They have no proof. They have nothing that shows that it truly works. But it's this emotional hope that I can lose 20 pounds overnight by taking this stupid gummy, right? So it's crazy, because our mental, we have such desire, such emotion, high emotion, low intelligence. And so it's really, before you sign up on something, before you get, say, yes, I want this, do some searches to figure out, are these legit? Do they have good reviews? Is this something that truly is just hype? Or do you have a high level of expectation that it's going to be true? And within business, the same thing. The guy that can tell you he gets you 20 leads a day, well, show me who you've done it for. Let me talk to some of your customers before I say yes. And so it's using a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of stepping back from the emotion. Same thing as when you are in communication with somebody and you're mad at them. Write out the communication and then leave it for a day and come back and say, okay, should I make this a little less emotional? Same thing. Understand every dollar you spend is gone. Or will you get the benefit from it? Make sure that you're doing your due diligence, that where you're putting your money truly is an investment in yourself versus an expense.
So good. Thank you so much for sharing that. I can really see how, especially when discipline has not yet been developed, or even just temperance, because these habits and skills take quite a bit of time. I can really see us, especially women, fall into the trap of negotiation. And when I speak about women, I speak about myself too. So I want to know from you, Sharon, what skills as a woman would you recommend that we learn to implement in our lives that are going to help us to take charge and control of our lives and, head towards the path of financial freedom and just freedom in general?
Well, one of the things I see in younger women today that makes me happy is there is a swing to women taking care of themselves more than in the past. My generation, we tended to put ourselves last and take care of everybody else first. And I was guilty of that as well. And so I'm really pleased to see the number of young women that are independent, they're strong, they are finding their own power. But more of them need to do that. And as you said, obesity is growing, so it's something that we just need to find the way to stay healthy and not just watch Netflix all day. So it's important to find the ability to make the most of every single day, because as I said, time is your most precious resource. And don't try to do it alone. I have the personal success equation. You can download a book I wrote about it for free called personalsuccessequation.com. And it really talks about your passion and your talent. All right. So my passion is really from anger that we aren't teaching kids about money in school. My talent was years in publishing, years as a licensed CPA. And I combine those two. And most of us do that. And we stop there. We think we have to do everything on our own. And I bet a few of you watching right now have had that feeling. If it's going to get done right, I'm just going to have to do it myself, right? That's kind of a mental thought. But it's really then times a power of association. Do you have the right people around you? Do you have the right people on your team? Do you have people who are strong where you are weak? And that's so important. That's the element of every bit of success I've had in my life. Times A, taking the right action. How many times do you know what you're supposed to do? You just don't do it. You should get up and go to the gym, but let's just roll over for a few more minutes. And then plus F, having faith in yourself, having faith in what you're doing, having faith that it's needed and necessary, and having faith that you will succeed. In that particular formula applies to every single person, including you. So look at that formula, download the personalsuccessequation.com book and analyze how you can make an impact. So for instance, when I have new clients, I look at that. And usually it's the power of association. Who do they need to align? Who do they need to expand their network for? And their confidence, the faith, because that F for faith is usually fear. And that fear we talk about in Outwitting the Devil. But they go hand in hand. When you have the right people around you, you have the right mentor, you have the right mastermind, you have the right people in your team, and you have a bad day, they won't let you stay there. They'll bring you up. And so think about your associations and your own level of self-confidence.
So good. Sharon, I just want to take a moment to thank you on behalf of all of us women in the world for being a true pioneer, for being a pioneer in, the space of entrepreneurship, for being a true pioneer for helping women to gain power and control. It is, even right now, there is still inequality, for us females. So thank you for being the beacon of light in this world. And team, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link for this book once again. I've read the book, and here's what you should know. I believe that every woman in this world who really wants to take her power, and I don't care what age that woman is, even a teenager would be able to relate to this. So moms, please don't just get this for yourself. Get this for the younger generation, because we're not taught these things in school. I believe that it is very rare to find someone, just like you said, Sharon, who is not only talented, who also has the sincere passion in this day and age. And Sharon is by far the most credible person in this field, and she has a heart of gold. I can tell you that from personal experience. It's been such a pleasure and honor to, of course, associate with you and to learn from you. And I truly recommend that you get this book. And also, who found value in today's conversation and is grateful? If you're grateful for having Sharon on today, just go ahead and drop some hearts so that Sharon can see you. On a Friday morning, it is 8:30 a.m. where you are. So what time did you choose to get up this morning so that you could be ready?
I was up at 6. I did my little exercise routine, and I had another meeting at 8. So then here for you. So
beautiful.
So proud of you guys, and so proud of all of you for being on today. And I appreciate so much that you were listening and paying attention. I grew up with a father that would say every night, Sharon, have you added value to someone's life today? So wouldn't the world be a better place if that's what we all concentrated on? So I'm delighted to be part of this association. I'm so proud of Aaron Sarit and the impact that you're making on the world. And every one of you has the opportunity to grow your impact. And whatever you've been through, you're still here. You're here for a reason. And turn whatever you survived into your message and help other people going through it as well.
So good. So thank you so much for joining us, Sharon. Thank you for being a part of this conversation. If you found value in today's content, my ask of you is share it with 3 women who are on your heart today, because the only way in order for us to make a difference is to share what's valued. So if you found value, give it away, pour it out. Because also imagine when you do that, you're actually being the rising tide and you're growing your support system. Imagine if every woman that you love in your life was to actually be on the same mission as you. Wouldn't that be nicer? Okay, so do this for yourself and do it for your loved ones. Sharon, thank you so much for investing your time with us today. Team, thank you so much for investing your time in watching today's content. It's an honor and a pleasure to be your guide in this journey. And I hope that you all have a beautiful Flex Friday. Much love, you guys. Thank you so much, Sharon. You're wonderful.
Thank you. It's wonderful.
Army Strong. Take care, guys. Happy Friday.